Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Mezco 112 Collective Bishop. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. First off, I really do like this box. It's much smaller than the typical Mezco boxes. I know that they have kind of been going in this direction for quite a while now, but every now and then they revert to the old days and give us one of those big boxes. They did that with Constantine. I really hope they continue with this size box. It's much smaller, easier to store. You could keep the accessories in there without taking up too much space. So I prefer this over the bigger style boxes. I love the artwork that we have right here. You could see Bishop in some type of post-apocalyptic setting. You could see some creepy kids back there with their eyes glowing, some rubble and some broken buildings. So that is awesome and very fitting for Bishop. And then on the side of the box, we get some more artwork of Bishop, smiling, looking crazy. And then on the back, we get a look at the figure along with all the accessories. And then down here, we get some promo shots that we have seen before. So that all looks good. Over here, we have the same artwork as the opposite side of the box. And that's about it for the packaging. I do like this box quite a bit. I like the size. I like the artwork. And I think it just looks cool. So hopefully, like I said, they continue in this direction. But enough about the pretty box. Let's go ahead and get Bishop out and take a look. All right, so here we have Bishop right out of the box. And I went ahead and decked him out with all of his weapons and ammunition and stuff just so we could get the full effect. And I think this guy came out awesome. I really do like this design for the character. And I think that Mezco did a really great job with it. Unfortunately, there appears to be a slight quality control issue with Bishop. And I don't know how common it is, but I am aware of a few instances where the shoulder joint is just really, really tight. So tight that you can't move it. And I actually know somebody that broke theirs. Shout out to Greg Rosenberger. He gave me a heads up letting me know that happened to him. So I knew to look out for it on this figure. And when I took him out of the box, lo and behold, this arm was way too tight and it just wouldn't move. I would try to move it and it would just kind of spring back into place. So that tells you right there that the joint was just too tight. So what I had to do was heat up the figure really, really warm, and then I popped the shoulder joint out, which is really hard to do because of the soft goods and all the other things going on. But I was able to get it detached, and then I popped it back in, stuck it in the freezer until it got, hard again. And then I brought it back out, and then I was able to move the arm without any issue. In the middle of all that, I did detach the shoulder pad from the elastic band that holds it on. That wasn't a huge problem. I just glued it back together and, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, the shoulder joint, that's definitely an issue, and it's kind of funny that, Greg let me know that was the case with his and it turned out to be the case with mine. What are the chances of that? It kind of makes me think that it may be a common issue. So if you have this Bishop figure, let me know if that's something that you noticed on yours. And if you haven't opened it or started to play with it yet, just be very careful with the shoulders. Make sure you take the necessary steps to free that joint up and move it without any problems. It can be done. You just have to have some patience and be very careful. But aside from that one issue, I'm really loving this figure. Typically, I'm not a huge fan of the Mezco superhero stuff. I just think it kind of looks weird, but I think they did a great job with Bishop. I feel like the proportions on this figure are a lot better than on other Mezco figures too. He doesn't look, like short and kind of weird. He just looks like a normal guy wearing armor. So that's awesome. And like I said, I think this design for Bishop is really cool. It kind of has like a movie feel a little bit, especially with the head sculpts. So yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's a great looking figure with a lot of cool accessories and stuff. So Mezco definitely did a great job with it. I would say it's one of the better superhero Mezco figures that we've seen so far. And as always, Mezco did a pretty great job with the sculpting and the details on Bishop. Starting off at the head, I really like these head sculpts, and that was a pleasant surprise because honestly, from the way they looked in the promo images, I thought that I wouldn't really like them. Like I thought maybe I would be switching them out or getting some custom head sculpts or something. But now that I have the figure in hand, I think the head sculpts came out really, really nice. They did a nice job with the details. Everything looks good. I like the M scar on his eye. The skin tone looks nice. It doesn't have that waxy look that a lot of Mezco figures tend to have. And I think that they really did a nice job with it. And then you could see the hair looks really good too. Got a lot of details in there, so that all looks nice. And his eyes do look a little crazy. Looks pretty intense, intense and focused. Focused on killing baby Hope. Bishop was crazy in that book. But yeah, man, the head sculpt looks nice. And he does come with two other head sculpts that we'll look at in just a minute. But moving on to the rest of the figure, man, look at that armor. That looks really cool. I like how it's all messed up. It looks like he's been on the run or in fights or whatever for a long time. So that's super cool. Same thing down here with the X logo on the belt. I love that it looks kind of messed up. I think that's a really cool detail. And we have all these pouches and stuff that look really good. And they're able to hold on to the various things that he comes with. Like on this side, he's got the little grenade canisters. On the back, he's got his, I guess it's like his communicator thing. And then he has some extra magazines for his gun. Here's the gun. We'll take a closer look at that later. One thing that drives me crazy about the gun is that it doesn't stay very securely in the holster back here. It does tend to fall out if you barely tap it. So that's one thing I wish was different. But coming back around to the front, I love the way the armor looks. Look at that. Some really nice detail and stuff. I love that it looks aged and war-torn. We have some elastic bands that hold the shoulder pads in place, so that's nice. Then check out the soft goods. I think this look for Bishop really works because they covered most of the soft goods. So yeah, it looks nice. Then over here we have his little sidearm holster or his handgun holster, so that's nice. A lot of great details in there. Look at all that. It looks really good. Ooh, and then check out the arms. I like how we have the X logo right there on the hand. Oh, once back, I know I talked about this already, but let me give you a closer look. I think that's so cool that it's like broken up. It looks like he's been wearing all this stuff just for a very long time, Very fitting for Bishop. And then on this side, he has the X logo too, but he also has like bandages or, his hands wrapped up or something. That's an awesome little detail. Ooh, oh man, I didn't notice that. The little battle damage right there. Looks like he got shot right there. Boom. Really cool. And then moving down into the lower body, check out the knife on the side here. Holds on to the knife that he comes with very securely. That sheath looks really good with some nice details. Oh, I like how he has like a little tally, probably of like things he's killed or something. Damn, that's a really cool detail. That's hard to see when you're not zoomed in on camera. Very nice. And I don't know what this material is, but it holds up really well because I've been playing with this figure a lot, bending him, kicking his legs up, and I haven't seen any creases in that. So that is really dope. And then we have these knee pads, and the knee pads look good, but apparently these are actually upside down. If you look at the promo images on the back of the box, the knee pads are supposed to be the other way. So that is, that's pretty goofy, man. And I have seen a shout out to Astro Ender on Instagram. He's the one who kind of posted about that and brought it to my attention. And he was saying when he tried to flip them around, the elastic band kind of broke. So that does suck. So the best course of action is probably to remove the feet. But, honestly, I don't know if I care enough to do it. Like, they look fine still, so it is what it is. And I don't think anybody would have noticed that these knee pads are upside down unless they were comparing it to the promo images. So, it's whatever. I'm probably just going to leave them. And then check out the boots, man. The boots look awesome. I like these a lot. A lot of detail on here. These look really, really good. I like how they have that red on there to kind of tie in the rest of the figure. Well, when he's wearing the scarf. But yeah, man, this is cool. Looks really, really good. Look at all the detail on the boot. Really nice. So yeah, there's a couple of goofy things going on, like the gun not being able to stay in the back holster securely and the knee pads being upside down. But aside from that, I think I love the details on this figure. There's a lot of little stuff. I like all the battle damage that we see. I love the torn up X-Men logo. The head sculpts are nice. I like all the little details throughout, like, the battle damage on the arms, the hand wraps on the hand, all that stuff. It looks really, really good. So, once again, Mezco did a great job of including a bunch of little interesting details all over the figure, and I think it looks really good. And then for accessories, Bishop does come with some pretty cool stuff, including multiple sets of hands. So first off, we have a pair of fists, we have a set of open flat hands, and then we have a set of open dramatic hands. And then he does come with 2 gun gripping hands for the right side, and each hand is specifically molded for the different guns that he comes with. And I think that is really awesome, but I wish that he would have come with 2 sets of each of these hands for the left and the right. As it is right now, we get these 2 hands, but only for the right side. So that does kind of suck, but I like that the hands are made specific for the guns. I think that is very cool. They should have included it on both sides though. And then aside from that, we do get some cool energy effects. I like this one a lot. You could put it over his fist and it kind of looks like he's shooting power from his hands. I think that is really dope. And then we have this other one that just kind of looks like he's holding some power in his hands. And this one's cool, but it's kind of hard to get him to hold it, but I like the way it looks. And as for weapons and additional equipment, Bishop does come with some really great stuff, including this big ass cannon. And I think this is awesome because whenever I think about Bishop, I think of this big dude from the future with pink powers and big ass guns. So I'm happy that he came with at least one. And this looks really good. I love the details on there. A lot of great stuff going on. And this is just a really cool design for like a futuristic weapon. And it does have like this removable magazine type of thing. I hesitate to call it a magazine because it's probably just more like a battery or something. But yeah, that looks really dope. Look at all the details on there. And then he does have, oh, he also comes with extra magazine things. He comes with 3 of them total. As you can see, I have a couple of them on his utility belt. So that's nice that we get some extras. But yeah, that's a very cool gun. And then he does come with this handgun. And I love this too, man. Look at all the details on there. I like the different colors and stuff. This is a very cool weapon. And this can be held on, or in his holster here on the side of his leg. And it goes on in there with no problem at all. So bam, there we go. That's nice. Then he does have a really nice looking knife. Just a cool, crazy looking knife. And, you know, this fits into the sheath on the side of his leg. Bam, there we go. That'll work. And then he comes with these things right here. It's kind of hard to for me to give you guys a good look because it's so small, but yeah, he has 3 of them and you're able to fit 2 of them onto his belt. I guess these would be like a little some type of grenade or something, but yeah, they look cool and they stay in there securely. And then finally, he does have his communicator. I forget what they call his time travel device in the cartoon, temporal something, I don't remember, but temporal transmitter or some shit like that. But yeah, he comes with this, and I figured this is what he uses to travel through time, you know, and you're able to put this in his belt as well. It is kind of hard to get in and out, so that's why I just kind of holding it right here. But yeah, this is cool. And what I like about this is that the antenna isn't like stiff plastic. It doesn't feel like it's going to break or anything, so that's always nice. But yeah, he does come with a bunch of really cool weapons and various equipment, so I like that a lot. In addition to the head that we've already looked at, we get 2 more head sculpts. Starting off with this one here, I think this looks awesome. It's very similar to the previous head sculpt, but obviously he has a much different facial expression and showing a different emotion. He looks way more angry. We've got the pink eyes that kind of shows that he's using his powers. And yeah, man, this head sculpt is really, really dope. Just as nice as the other one, but you know, shows off something totally different. So I like this quite a bit. And then for the third head sculpt, we have Bishop with the bald head. And you know, we've seen him like that in the comics quite a bit. So I love that they included this, but this is probably my least favorite out of the 3 head sculpts. Nothing necessarily wrong with it. I just like the other ones better. But yeah, this is well done too. You know, he's got the scar on the eye, the beard, and you know, it looks good for sure. But I like the look with the hair a lot more for the character and for the figure. And just in case anybody was curious, here's a quick look at the Mezco Bishop with the Marvel Legends Bishop head. And, you know, I think this looks okay. It is a little big, but, you know, you could maybe make this work. Unfortunately, it doesn't really pop on or anything. It's just kind of sitting there. So you'd have to modify the hole or, you know, maybe put some blue tack in there or something to make it stay. But yeah, that's an option if you prefer this crazy ass haircut that Bishop had in the 90s. It would have been nice if they included a head sculpt like this, but unfortunately they did not. I do like the way that the handkerchief looks on here though. That's pretty cool. But yeah, if you want to do this, that's definitely an option that you could maybe make work, but I don't think I'm going to do this, you know. I'm really happy with the head sculpts that he came with, so I'm good with it. But for people that prefer the 90s look of Bishop, this may satisfy you a little bit. And then lastly, he does come with this really cool cloak. At first, I didn't really like it because I just thought that it was too big and I wasn't really sure how to put it on him. But then once I kind of wrapped it around his neck like a scarf, that's when I really started to like it. It does have a bendy wire in there, and I like how it's all tattered and messed up and kind of discolored. I think it looks really cool. But yeah, let's take a quick look at it off the figure. It's very big and kind of like you know, like on the back of the box, it shows the cloak like draped over, you know, his entire upper body. And I just wasn't really feeling that. Look how big it is. So the way they had it on the box was like just over him like this. And, you know, that can look kind of cool, but I preferred like having it like around the neck, kind of bunched up. And, you know, it kind of makes it feel like a little bit more comic book looking. And it kind of stays in place better too, because if you use the heads that have like the long hair, the hair kind of pins the scarf down. And yeah, I think it looks really cool like that, just kind of wrapped around him. This is not as cool as I originally had it, but you know, you guys get the idea. I'm gonna have to mess with it a little bit more, but yeah, I like this a lot because it definitely makes it look more like he did in the comics, and it's not just like big and in the way and stuff, you know. So this is really cool. I like this cloak quite a bit, even though initially I was just kind of like, they could have done better with it. Once you put some time into it and make it work for you, you can make it look really cool on the figure. So I'm really happy that they included this. Alrighty, so now for some size comparisons. Here we have Bishop alongside the Mafex Gambit and the Mezco 112 Collective Gambit. And you know, to me, I always imagine Bishop as like a much bigger guy than Gambit. So right here, I kind of feel like the Mezco Bishop and the Mezco Gambit are kind of out of scale with each other. Maybe it's because Gambit is too tall or something. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's a little off. But I do feel like Bishop kind of works for Mafex, because Mafex seems to be a little bit smaller than the Mezco Gambit. But still, I just kind of wish that Bishop was a little bit bigger. But I know that he's not always drawn really big. But when I think about Bishop, I just kind of think of a bigger guy. But, you know, it's not like he's tiny or anything. So you could kind of make things work. And speaking of characters that are too small, here we have Bishop alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Cable figures. And man, I like both of these cables, but I do wish that they were bigger. But yeah, I guess they look kind of cool with Bishop, especially this one. I think these two look really cool together. You could definitely get them into some cool shots. One of my favorite stories involving Bishop is when he's chasing Cable and Hope through time, and Bishop is kind of like the villain of that story. So I've always liked the dynamic between him and Cable, and that story was like a really interesting take on it. So yeah, you could kind of make scenarios from that story happen with these two figures. And then next up, we have them alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Steelbox Wolverine and the Mezco 112 Collective Cyclops. And, you know, I think he looks pretty cool next to them. And then next up, we have him alongside the Revoltech Cable, but this figure has a custom head sculpt from Custom Chef on Instagram. Shout out to him. He definitely improved on this figure. On the opposite side, we have the Mafex Wolverine. And yeah, that Cable is huge next to that Bishop. I would really like to see Mafex do a Cable or Bishop. Hopefully, you know, they're killing it with the X-Men stuff. I would love to see them dig deeper and give us characters that are a little bit more obscure, you know. And I think Cable and Bishop are kind of in line with what they've been doing. So hopefully they go down that road. And just to show them off very quickly with some Legends, here we have them alongside the Marvel Legends Retro Gambit and the Marvel Legends Bishop. Obviously, this figure is not really going to fit in very well with your Legends stuff because Mezco does its own take on the characters. But yeah, man, we need more Bishop figures out there. It's kind of crazy that these are really the only two options, aside from the Toy Biz one, you know, in the 6-inch scale. It'd be nice for some more companies to give us Bishop figures. I feel like he's a really popular character. I don't know. He was big in the cartoon back in the day. I know a lot of people my age know who he is. My mom knows who he is, so that's like a good gauge. But yeah, I feel like he's popular enough to get some more love in the action figure world. And then next up, we have him alongside the Marvel Legends X-Men the Animated Series inspired Cyclops and the Marvel Legends Retro Wolverine. And then last, but definitely the most important size comparison, here we have Bishop alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And the articulation on Bishop really caught me by surprise. Considering the design of the character, I thought the joints on this guy would be way more limited than they actually are. But when I took him out of the box and I started to pose him around and seeing what he was capable of, I was really happy to see that some of the joints on Bishop get way more range than I was expecting. And that's awesome. And you know, obviously he's not like crazy posable. It's not like a Revoltech or a Mafex or anything. But for a Mezco figure, Bishop could really do a lot of great stuff. And I'm having a whole lot of fun with it. So I'm really happy with what we have going on here. But let's go ahead and take a look starting off at the head. So he does have movement at the lower neck and at the upper neck. So using both of those, we get some really nice tilt. And then he could look left to right. He could look down to about right there, which is pretty good. And then he could look up to about right there. And obviously, if you have one of the heads that has like more hair, then it's going to be pretty limited. But with the bald head, it goes up a pretty good amount. So that's nice. So good stuff at the head and the neck. And then for the torso, this really caught me by surprise. I love what they did here. So I didn't think that we were going to get any movement out of the torso because, as you could see, he does have this armored piece. But they did a really good job with it because the armor piece on his chest is two different pieces. So you've got the upper piece and then this lower piece down here. And when you crunch him forward, the upper piece just kind of slides over the lower piece. And when you do that, he gets some really good range. All things considered, it's not a crazy amount, but it's way more than I was expecting. Look at that. That is pretty damn good. Yeah, like I said, it's not like you're going to get him into a crouching pose, but this is way more ab crunch than I thought that we would get out of this guy. I thought we would get nothing. I thought that was going to be like a solid armored piece and, it was just the design and that's that. But no, Mezco made it work. So I really like that. Then it could go back to about right there. Then we get some side to side. And he can also swivel on that diaphragm joint. So really good stuff there, man. I think that Mezco did a great job with the ab crunch, considering the design they went with. So I'm very happy with that. That was the thing I was most pleasantly surprised with on this figure. I was messing with it. I was like, oh, damn, it goes way forward. And then for the arms, he does have a little bit of a butterfly joint in there, but, doesn't really do too much for you. He's got ball joints, and you are able to bring his arms up a really nice amount. The only thing that kind of stops them is this shoulder pad. It does move out of the way because it has like elastic bands, so that's cool. But the soft goods don't really restrict the articulation at all at the arms. Like if the shoulder pads weren't there, I'm sure you could get his arms like all the way up, both of them at the same time. So whatever material they used right here has a lot of play, and it's very durable. So, I don't have to worry about this getting damaged at all. I like whatever material they used. Works good for the arms. And then you could bring his arms out to the side, and the shoulder pads just kind of move out of the way. So that's nice. Yeah, that'll work for sure. And then he does have an upper bicep swivel. There we go, upper bicep swivel. He's got double jointed elbows, which is really nice because in the original promo pics, he had single jointed elbows. So I'm really happy that they made that change because, you got to be able to have Bishop in some cool fighting poses just in case his guns run out of batteries or some bullshit. Yeah, you want to be able to let Bishop square up just a little bit, But yeah, so I'm happy with the movement at the elbows. And then he does have ball joints at the wrist that are a little like limited because of the forearm piece, but you're able to spin them, and then there's the hinge in there as well. And then for the legs, we actually get some really good movement too. Again, the soft goods they used are awesome, like very durable, and they don't really restrict the articulation. He can kick forward to about right there. Bring his leg back to about right there. And he could kick to the side a really good amount, but then, like the sculpted pieces here kind of clash with each other, but you could still get his leg up a really good amount. Look at that. So he won't necessarily be able to kick like anyone in the face, but he could definitely kick some weird mutated futuristic monster right in the torso. Bam! There we go. That'll work. Yeah, so that's awesome. And then he does have upper thigh swivel in there. He has double jointed knees. They get a really good bend. Boom, look at that. Awesome stuff. Very nice. And then at the lower leg, he has a boot swivel. And then the foot kind of caught me by surprise too, because typically, Mezco doesn't do a great job with the ankles, but on Bishop, he's got some really nice rocking action going. Not a crazy amount, but definitely enough to help him stand and do whatever. Then you can bring his foot forward to about right there, bring it up to right there, and you can't really swivel on it. But I was really impressed with that rocking side to side. But yeah, man, I was really impressed with all of the articulation on Bishop. Typically Mezco figures aren't the most fun to pick up and play with, but this guy, I'm having a whole lot of fun playing around with them. Aside from like Iron Fist, most Mezco figures aren't really hand friendly, but Bishop is not as hand friendly as Iron Fist, but he's kind of, I kind of want to say he's in the same ballpark. I mean, he's got a bunch of armor, so things are a little bit different, but man, I'm having a lot of fun posing him around and playing with them. So that's kind of rare when it comes to Mezco. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the articulation. Again, it's nothing over the top, but it's definitely more than I was expecting. And I'm pleasantly surprised, and I'm having a lot of fun posing them around. So good stuff on the articulation. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, Bishop is pretty damn awesome. And I think that Mezco did a great job on it. I do have a couple of minor complaints, nothing major really. Just a few things I wish were a little bit different. First off, I wish that he was a little bit bigger. In my mind, Bishop is always drawn as like a bigger character. He's usually bigger than the rest of the X-Men, and I just don't know if this figure accurately captures that. And then the other thing is, I wish his damn gun on the back would stay in the holster more securely. As it is right now, it pops off very easily. But aside from those two things, I think this guy's awesome. Mezco absolutely killed it. And they don't always do the best job when it comes to like comic book superheroes, but I think that Bishop might be one of their best comic figures so far because, the way they designed the suit hides a lot of the soft goods, which, sometimes tend to look like pajamas on their superhero figures. But with Bishop, a lot of it is covered up, so it looks good. Speaking of the soft goods, they're really nice. They're very durable. You can play with the figure quite a bit and you don't have to worry about damaging any of the clothing. So that is always awesome. And I was really surprised with the articulation on him, He's much more fun to pose around and play with than I was anticipating. So that's nice. And he looks amazing too. All the sculpted areas look really, really good. The armor, the boots, the belts, the arms, all that stuff is extremely well done. The weapons are nice too. He comes with a bunch of great accessories, all the hands, the guns, the extra magazines, the grenades, the communicator thing, all that stuff is really cool. And you know what? The head sculpts are awesome too. Like when I first saw Bishop in the promo images, I wasn't impressed by the head sculpts, but when I saw him in person, I was like, damn, these are nice. They came out really, really good. This is definitely one of those figures that looks a lot better in hand than it does in photos, from what I've seen so far. But yeah, man, this figure came out nice. I'm really, really happy with it. And yeah, Mezco straight up killed it on this guy. It's been a while since I've been like excited about a Mezco figure, but this guy right here, he's awesome. I don't know if everyone will agree with me, but personally, I like this one quite a bit, man. So yeah, Mezco did a great job, and I'm very happy with this Bishop. Obviously, the shoulder thing was a huge problem. I almost forgot about that. But yeah, the shoulder thing definitely sucked, but thankfully I was able to get past it pretty quickly. My advice to you is be very careful with the shoulder when you're trying to move it, because I am aware of a couple of people that have had that same problem with the shoulders. So be very, very careful. But yeah, aside from that, I'm really satisfied with this figure, and I'm just happy with the way he came out. So yeah, good shit, Mezco. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. If you're not aware, I go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m., every Friday at 7 p.m., and every Sunday at 10 a.m. to strictly talk about comics on Sundays. So make sure to come through Sunday morning to talk about comic books. The show is called Breakfast Bars. I'm having a lot of fun there, and it's helping me get back into comics, and hopefully it helps other people get into comics. So come through for that. And yeah, thank you very much. So I did end up flipping the knee pads, and it really wasn't that much of a hassle. I just heated up the boots, popped them off, slipped the knee pads off, flipped them around, put them back on. It wasn't that much of a big deal, but it's just goofy that it had to be done at all, Even though this figure took a long time to come out, it seems like, at the last minute they kind of rushed a few things. So that's unfortunate, but nothing that can't be dealt with a little bit of patience.